Hi, I thought I would like to take a moment to share with you some things I'm passing through that might be more universal than just about me. It's about time and the movement of time over tens, hundreds, thousands of years, and how these cycles of time they progress. Currently, I'm seeing time like threads or fibers. I'm experiencing them like a cascade of threads. If this image were dynamically in movement in all directions simultaneously, this would be more about my current feeling about time. It is fluidly dynamic, it's continuous, obviously, it's flowing, and life is linked to time. My mitochondrial DNA and yours goes back to roughly 180,000 years. That mitochondrial DNA is unchanged as it is transmitted from mother to daughter, mother to daughter. So for 180,000 years through the passage of time, it's remained as it is. Then through time, I receive my ancestral infusion of unresolved emotional phenomena or characteristics, attributes, abilities. I'm receiving through the accumulation of time these interwoven pieces of my ancestral threads. That's currently my way of looking at it. I have been experimenting, as you know, how to utilize this flowing rhythm of divine perfection. And for me, time is a divine manifestation of intelligence, and it moves with every hour, every breath, every inhale, exhale, time. Well, inside this woven experience of time are specific thread like increments. And I'm suggesting that the willingness to appreciate an individual thread that links to an individual gland, organ, body system, that also links to a mother or your father, that links to a grandmother, great grandmother, that links back through hundreds of years, thousands of years, tens of thousands of years, and how that is affecting me now. That by through the process of appreciating one little piece at a time, I can set in motion a greater appreciation. What I mean by that is literally 5 seconds of a sincere desire to feel what's present in this moment can move through one of these threads for a very long time. Then, if I do it to another thread, another hour, and another hour, and another hour, and another hour, just 5 seconds of the appreciation of the magical musical beauty of the mathematics of the interwoven composite of time. Now, this time progresses and it goes in stages. And I think we would all agree that life has changed in the last 50 years. We, in some form or another, have become larger in our diameter of inclusiveness. We become more global. Our communications, our economies, our goods and services, our actions, our appreciation, our sharing of things, be they beautiful or difficult, such as viruses and so on, that we are sharing rhythms of time. And apparently, in the last 30 years, we've become more and more global. For me, the global element has to do with what I call the five. One and two, basically family. Three, four, community function. Five and six, primarily global function. I also describe that as self, others, and all. So we moved into specifically an experience of the global with the arrival of the COVID and so on, and a series of other global events. But other very interesting things have also been arriving during this time. For example, in the last 20 years, our diameter of outreach to see, feel, and understand the galaxies, the universe, keeps increasing. And now, with the aid of the Hubble and the Webb and other Earth based telescopes, we are looking at trillions and trillions of stars, galaxies from very far away. And every single one of them has a color that corresponds to its composite and its association in time relative to me. So some are moving away, what's called redshift, others are moving lateral, some are moving toward, and all around we are surrounded by this vast canopy of color. And for me, what's really arriving on all of these threads right now, color. Why color? After we move from the throat function of five boy, five girl, five boy being authenticity of self, five girl being the unity of all living things, then just above that is this canopy of the human head. Now, I know that you already know that every green thing on Earth, from the smallest one-celled algae to the largest tree, produces a flower. Every blade of grass grows into a flower, and so on and so on. Flowers are the result of the final manifestation of something greater engaged in a cycle of reproductive change. Flowers are designed to reproduce the one, the family again, the seed again. This sequence of the upwelling of time through space, to me, is color. Now, it's been known at some level that the thousand-petaled lotus is in the brain. Some people call it the golden flower, the blue flower, and a few other forms of flowers. For me, it's about the opening of the self, the higher capacities, to experience the colors of endless possibilities. And this is a time period of the opening of number six. Part of that thing about the opening of number six is it brings fear of the unknown, anxiety, paranoia. Somebody's going to come and get me. The aliens are coming. The dark societies are coming. People want to enslave me. Well, sorry, but the top of the head is designed to be free. Ultimately, it's to be free. Minerals that have been transiting from the middle of the earth for hundreds of millions of years, they travel up through layers of the earth. They're absorbed by roots with water. They become flowers in trees, flowers in bushes and grass. Flowers have different colors, fragrances. All of those minerals become displayed as colors. And the same way we understand different galaxies is by the composite of their minerals. Well, There was an interesting event just a couple days ago that I hope you'll be able to find on the internet, is that there was a rare wave of pink northern lights. The aurora borealis had this massive wave of pink. I'm, I'm waiting to find the photography of it to arrive so I could show it to you, but they were involved in explaining why the color pink. And apparently, right at 60 miles above the Earth, there is a zone, and anything above that has a color of green, and so on. And there are colors above that, but below 62 miles, down to apparently around 58 miles above the Earth, it enters into a realm where the charged particles of the sun, they actually start to contact oxygen molecules, nitrogen molecules, and it produces this glow of pink. Now, they say the reason why that was possible is that the angle of the charged particles from the sun met a specific type of anomaly in the electromagnetic field of the Earth. It came in and got underneath the 60-mile limit and produced this wave of pink. That happened apparently because of shifting electromagnetic fields around the Earth are shifting in unusual ways and producing pockets of electromagnetic gaps where ions can come in. And we are likely in the coming months, possibly years, see more and more ranges of color. I would urge you to consider the impact of what those colors might mean or how you might use them. For me, color is, well, medicine. Let me show you some of my favorite forms of current medicine. I like this one. This is, the canopy of colors that are actual living. And for me, each one of these colors corresponds to a gland, an organ, a body system, an ancestor, a meridian, and on and on and on. So I'm enjoying the use of color in my circulating field, and I'm exploring what that feels like. You could do the same thing, and I am doing it with this one, where I'm using the electromagnetic fields of so many beautiful colors that are actual, mobilized, and they exist in physics and they exist in time. So I'm using those inside me, moving them up, while at the same time appreciating the month of the year, in the Northern Hemisphere being the two-girl month, which corresponds to the experience of feeling and water and corresponds to a color of blue. So I'm taking all of these colors into my two-girl component of my own life, and I'm just experimenting with the beauty of these colors. Now, let me show you some of my other exotic little patterns. I like this one for obvious reasons. It's the top of the head becoming a bouquet of flowers, and it does all these things. Okay, I know it seems odd that somewhat of a grown man would put his head inside of a flower and want to move it around and do wild and crazy things with times of the day. And well, I would suggest to you that, yeah, you probably don't know what you're missing. And if you want to see some other ones that I've just enjoyed lately, I'll just run you through a collection. I kind of like this one. It has a quality to it. I like this one. And I like these. They have a special feeling of softness around it and helps me feel that intrinsic softness. Other ones are quite unique in their specter and their combination. Other ones, which are kind of composite man-made use of color, I I like this one. That's a Japanese flowing. To me, that's the flowing of life force in the human energy field. And there are many others, other ones I've shown before that are the Northern Lights, other ones that also have this feeling involved in them, and so on and so on. And there are many. I won't go into all of them. Let me just give you a couple more. My earthly based favorites, I like ones like this. I've actually had the opportunity to walk in a place like this, Telluride, Colorado, where there are literally flowers like this for 2 or 3 miles in a valley, millions of colors like this, surrounded by beauty and water and mountains. An extraordinary experience, the most beautiful place on earth I've ever visited. But there are places like this that we have around us that are created. We have other ones that are magical or created by the imagination. We have others that have very practical ways that we can visit them. But for me, it has a lot to do with color. If I put back in my use of color, like this one, well, it looks now kind of coarse or gross or abstract. If I do this one, which I try to relate the organs to colors, and just doesn't have the same impact of this one. One of my personal favorites. So how do I use this? Well, I'm saying it's all around us right now. In my early 30s, I had an opportunity to live on the Navajo reservation for 6 months, visit the Hopis, and have an opportunity to share with them my experience of seeing colors in the sky. I was informed about Hopi prophecies about rainbows. You might want to go look up Hopi prophecies and the Rainbow Warriors, because there is the emanation of the likelihood that mankind is reaching a certain stage of development where our opportunity to integrate this really depends on our personal social attitudes about self. The largest diameter is regulated by my own personal awareness about how I feel about me, how I relate to my own family, how my family relates to me, how we as a collective group create a community, we as a group create a country, we create a global phenomenon, and we create something even higher as we have our relationship to the spirit world and beyond. Colors in the sky. You're likely to hear more and more about this, and I trust that these colors remain healthy, because it's quite possible that colors get there in the wrong way. When people go into conflict, it could do the same thing. So how would we use each one of these individual flowers as a interior medicine for my own physiology, psychology, my own opening of my relationship to myself? To transcend the boundaries of time and space is to fully open ourselves to feel the capacity of the human being in relationship to the divine. So this is where I am in this moment with the use of color. I have a tendency lately to look for different forms of color on the internet, and I'm looking for the amazing opportunity that so many people are taking pictures that are extraordinarily beautiful, because we're all having an opportunity to see more, feel more, and share more. I wanted to share this moment of color with you and encourage you to consider how you might use it in your own personal life. Have a good day. Be colorful. See ya.